All right, and we are live again, and this time, hopefully, we're not going to have any delay here. I'm checking the CPU. We should be live. We should be good, and it should be 8 a.m. on Saturday morning here with the HODL review, and we should be. Let me see here. All right, as usual. Anyhow, let me carry on. So as you guys join in, if you're joining this on the restream, welcome to the HODL review. And today we're going to get into a number of different topics. The first topic that I want to talk about is something that came up, and actually somebody even mentioned this yesterday in one of the live streams that were going on. But this popped up on a feed. There we go. We're actually live. All right, so this popped up on one of the feeds on a press release, and it was talking about Satoshi Nakamoto's big reveal this weekend. So I thought that this would be an interesting topic to talk about and really identify whether or not it's something that matters and whether or not it's something we really care about. So I thought that would be a good starting point. And then we got a bunch of other things to go over. So things that happened throughout the past week, and something that we kind of briefly touched on in a previous stream, which is China releasing its own digital asset. What is the ramification of that? What does it really mean? MoneyGram. What does the redesign? This whole new online launch of the redesign of their web platform. What does that mean? And where is that all coming from? And is that something that obviously was planned a little bit in advance due to the big Ripple buy-in a number of weeks back? So everything seems to kind of fall into place. And then another point that I wanted to bring up today also, and maybe this is where we're going to start. This is really has to. It has nothing to do with digital asset. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. But I thought it was interesting because this is really based on what is hot in the precious metal arena, and it's not gold. And so that's what we want to get into a little bit. But before we do that, let me turn to the chat. And I believe that when I first logged in here, it looked like Carl Lewis was first in. So we know what that means. And what we're going to do here with this, we are going to use our trusty live actions. Hang on. Trying to get back to and it's not popping up. It's driving me crazy here. I can't find my live chat. I don't know where the live chat went. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. I kind of lost the live chat, so I don't want to have to constantly look down at my phone when I can actually see the live chat up in front of me. So anyhow, so Carl Lewis, first in on the stream today, and we are going to pull up the XRP tip bot. And what do we do with that? Let's see if we can find Carl Lewis on the XRP tip bot. Let's see if we can get this going. Let me see here. All right, send the tip. And let me see if I can find you on here. Carl Lewis, I'm sure there's a bunch of other Carl Lewises on Twitter. So just to simplify and help me find you, maybe you want to throw in your Twitter into the chat, and then we'll shoot over some XRP. So let's get that going. In the meantime, what's up, XRP Minute? We got Matt LaRoche. We got Carl Lewis. So, all right, let's see what we got. Let us start off here. Let's dig in. Let's find a good topic to talk about to start with. And the first thing that I want to get into is precious metal. So precious metal is interesting. Precious metal, there's always a lot of talk going on right now that Bitcoin is the digital gold. But is gold the real hot commodity right now in the investment space? And I think this is interesting because we have a huge demand right now. And this is an article that popped up this past week on Forbes, and I've been sitting on it for a little while. I've been wanting to talk about it. Want to see what kind of feedback you guys have on this as well. But as we see bigger and bigger demand in the digital space, especially with electric cars, electric vehicles, gaining more and more momentum, and we'll see if that continues. Who knows? Gas right now and gas-powered vehicles are really the mainstream, the main way of moving our vehicles, and I don't see a huge bump up yet in electric vehicles until you see an increase in performance of the battery and an easier mechanism of rapid charging the battery. So you get relatively limited on your vehicle to your 200 to 300 miles, and that's it. And you're not doing a rapid charge in under 5 minutes. So until that happens, I don't think we're going to see a big, huge boom of the electric vehicle. However, the electric vehicle purchases have gone up thanks to Tesla and some of the others. And as a result, since it's putting a big demand on certain metals, it's not gold that's being pressed right now. It's actually nickel. And I thought this was interesting because in this article, it's saying that nickel is actually up 30% over the last 2 months, which is much better than gold. And even, if you were to compare Bitcoin to gold or nickel, obviously Bitcoin is significantly higher year over year in terms of the year's performance or year to date. But here we are, seeing another metal that is performing at a rapid rate, and it's based on utility. So think about that. So think about as we go into the digital asset space, we talk a lot about the utility, direct utility as a causation and influence on price point. And the same goes with metals. And so as you see nickel, and people think, oh, we're not using, nickel isn't that important. However, it is. And then you also have stainless steel. So stainless steel is still, a primary market for nickel. That's where it's going. However, because of the fact of the batteries, and batteries are ramping up, then we're seeing this high demand for nickel that goes into the battery. So that is really, really interesting. I think it is anyways. And so in this article, it gets into it and it talks about Tesla, Prius, Leaf, and more that are using either the nickel cadmium or the nickel metal hydride. I don't know if that's pronounced right. So you have the NICD battery, which is the nickel cadmium, and then you have the nickel metal hydride, which is the NIMH, all rechargeable batteries. Then obviously, with this demand, where are they getting the nickel from? Is it, I don't know. I've never really thought about the quantities of nickel out there that are available. And is one more precious than the other? Is it in more limited quantity, or is it in huge quantities? So I thought that was interesting. And it's performing at a much better pace than that of gold right now. So let's see who's bounced in here. And Carl Lewis, you're not on Twitter. Come on. All right. So if you're not on Twitter, then you need to pick somebody from the stream today that we're going to give the XRP to. Since you were the first on, then you get first choice. So how about that? Nice. Crash Monkey's on the way to the gym and possibly filming another great segment on burpees or something like that. So looking forward to seeing if you put another video together. Definitely looking forward to seeing that. Let's see. XRP minute. Thanks to Cole. Is that poser plants can operate and recharge those electric car batteries? That's a great point. If it wasn't for coal, we wouldn't have power. If it wasn't for nuclear power, there would be no electricity. So, you got to figure out how you're going to actually power up those batteries that they're putting in these vehicles. So that's a really good point. And Carl Lewis, hang on, the comments kind of bounced here. If I had a nickel for every time I've heard that. Nice. So Greenland. Yeah, what's up with that, Matt? Greenland. Is there nickel in that's interesting. Is there nickel in Greenland? Is that what it is? They get it from Nickelodeon. That's definitely possible too. That's a good point. I never really thought about that. Is there nickel in Greenland? Let's look this up. Is there nickel in Greenland? Is that the primary source of nickel? Let's see what it says. Let's see what Google wants to tell us. Greenland Day. Let's see. Nickel potential in Greenland. This was an article from 2012. Let's see. All right, that's not really a good article. Greenland Mineral and Exploration Outlook 2013 by Metals in the World. Okay, here we go. Here's a nice one. And here's another one. North American Nickel Forecast Greenland Project Launch by 2023-2024 due to the electric batteries. Where to find copper, nickel, and cobalt deposits in Canada. So if anyone's up in Canada, Ajax, then, maybe, Canada is the place to go. Nickel mines in Canada. So Canada seems to be the place. Nickel, the secret driver of the battery revolution. These are all older articles. Let's see here. And Denmark, obviously, they didn't take too kindly to the fact that that Trump wants to buy Greenland. Be an interesting purchase. I don't know if the U.S. has actually bought anything in a while, so any land mass. So maybe it's time that we actually, do some purchases here. I'd love to buy Greenland. Yeah, you know what, Chip? I think so too. I'd prefer Iceland. Iceland, is actually with what their the volcanic power capabilities is actually pretty great, and especially the way they heat their water and water resources and all of that. So maybe Iceland would be a better option. Plus, it's a nice tourist destination. So OTC. That's right. After moon, we can all go chip in. Who's in? We'll chip in and we'll buy Greenland. We can buy segments of it, and we can mine XRP over there. I think who was mentioning that they're selling mining equipment for XRP on eBay. So, all right, let's move on here. Let us move on to the next topic at hand. So I thought that was interesting. Next one here, and I thought this popped up. I thought this needed a little bit of discussion. This came up on the GlobeNewsWire.com. And this, we won't find out until tomorrow if this is for real, this is legit. If it's not legit, who knows? So here we go. Iceland is green, Greenland is ice. That's true. That is true, Chip. And Iceland's a great place. I did enjoy going there. So let's see here. So this is the article came out. This was on Globe's Newswire. Move this computer over here. Whoa. Almost lost my other computer as I'm trying to move computers around. So that doesn't make any sense. All right. So this was interesting. So we have this article that popped up again on Globe Newswire. Visionary Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto to reveal identity. Now he supposedly after, and this is the beginning of this article on Globe Newswire that was launched yesterday. After a decade of anonymity, after a decade of anonymity, Satoshi Nakamoto will break his silence in part 1 of his My Reveal Sunday, August 18th at 4 p.m. on the Satoshi Nakamoto Renaissance Holdings website, which is SatoshiNRH.com, and the Ivy McLemore and Associates website, Ivy McLemore, McLemore.com. So this is supposedly the big reveal. And this is this press release that came out, and the contact person for this is Ivy McLemore, and it's IvyMcLemore.com. So interesting. Now the question is this for real? Is it not for real? But it says here, in addition to his real life identity, which is what we're anticipating then is going to start rolling out tomorrow, it's going to be a 3-part series of the Satoshi Nakamoto rollout. So we'll see if this is legit. We'll see if this is for real. And the anticipation is that it's not Craig Wright. He's not the one that's going to come out. And so it'll be interesting. Is it really going to be an individual? Is it going to be a group? And is this all just false news? Which is always seems to be the point. So anonymity. Yeah. So here we go. Let's see if this is what I'm gonna do. Let me open this on here. Let me look at this. I wanted to save this and see. So Ivy Micklemore and Associates. These guys, are they legit? Are these guys legit? Man, I don't know. I got to pull this up on my other computer. We got to look at this. All right, let me pull this up over here. Hang on. Hang on. Here we go. So we are going to pull this up. Now I almost threw my laptop right off the side of the desk here. Let me go here. Hopefully I don't tax the CPU any more than necessary. Okay, and you guys are going to decide based on this. We're going to look at the Ivy Micklemore and Associates website, and let's make some sort of a determination. Here we go. Am I good over here? I can't even tell. Am I in edit mode? No. How do I get to edit mode? Come on, that's live mode. Edit mode. There we go. I need to adjust my my lower image because it's not showing too well. I need to move that over here, and then I will transition. I didn't transition already, but anyhow, let's go back into live mode. Maybe I'm already transitioned. I can't even tell, but I had to adjust my image. Can you see me? Oh, there we go. All right. You can see that. All right, cool. So let's go over here. All right, let's go to Ivy Micklemore. Ivy Micklemore and Associates. Let's see. Come on, stream. Oh, shoot, I just closed the stream. This is insane. Technology is no fun. Here we go. There we go. All right, cool. I had to pop the stream back up on my phone. Got too many things going on around me. So let's check this out. So Ivy Micklemore. These are the guys behind the big Satoshi reveal. Now the question is, are these guys legit? Let's scroll down and look at about the Ivy Micklemore and Associates. Who are they? Let's see. Who's this guy? Ivy Micklemore. This is Ivy Micklemore right here. Opened up his own public relations firm with a broader vision. He believes in the concept of telling stories through the media to sell products and build a brand. Then we got this guy, Michael Jones. Let's see, vice president, responsible for finding innovative ways to help their customers stay ahead. Then you got this guy here, John Riley, senior advisor with over 40 years of experience in public relations. John provides Ivy Micklemore and Associates with expert analysis, advice, and recommendations. And then you got this guy over here, Vice President Steve Gillen, leverages his expertise in disruptive technologies to head strategic communications on behalf of our blockchain and cryptocurrency clients. All right, let's see what kind of services they have. We've got digital marketing, traditional PR. All right, let's see who their clients are. Look at this. Look at this list of clients. They've got Black Creek, Jackal Law Group. We've got Satoshi Nakamoto Renaissance Holdings, Guggenheim, Semper Capital Management. Interesting. Ally, AIG. These are their clients. Pop that open. What do you guys think? Let us look. What do you guys think? AIG 100 insurance, investments. Okay, is this their client here? Let's see who else they've got. They've got the Guggenheim. Let's look at this Satoshi Nakamoto Renaissance. My reveal. There you go. See, SatoshiNRH.com. His big reveal, part 1, Sunday, August 18th. You would think if they're going to do the big reveal, it said 4 p.m. on the press release, you'd get a 4 p.m. over here as well. So, not sure what's going on with that. But anyhow, I'm shocked. We've only got 10 people on this morning. Actually, really surprised. Maybe nobody wants to hear about Satoshi. I have no idea, but but if you guys want to, we've got maybe another 30 minutes of this that we're gonna go through. So if you guys want to shoot out a tweet on this, if there's anybody new on here, I doubt anybody's new on here. You want to subscribe, give a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, thumbs down if you don't enjoy the content. The key is we need to drive more people in here, and I don't know why there's only 13 people in here right now in the room. So a little bit surprised on that. Normally we can get a good 20 or 30 on a Saturday morning. So let's see. Let's see what else we got here. So what do you guys think? You know, I don't know. I'm looking at this, trying to figure out exactly, you know, what the play is here with Ivy McLemore and Associates. Is this a media play? You know, are they trying to attract clients? We don't have direct links on all of these. This is interesting. Very interesting. We have a link on Satoshi Nakamoto, and we have a direct link on AIG, but we don't have a direct link. Hang on. No. Yes. No, and no. So they have 3 links. We have GuggenheimInvestments.com. That is one of their clients. Interesting. I don't know. And then we've got AIG, supposedly one of their clients, and Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, all these guys are supposed to be their clients too, but why do we not have links to the others? I don't know. Let's go to clients. There we are. That was clients. Okay. I know I didn't click clients to get to clients. It's a vertical scroll page. Let's go to services. Okay, we've seen services. Clients, contact us. I don't know. I'm a little iffy about this. Just a little bit iffy about this. So, I don't know. That's the big reveal. That's what they've got. You know, I find that to be really interesting. Let me go back here. Let's go back. Let us. Oh, you know what I did? I closed this. No wonder. That's why I couldn't get my studio mode going again. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? That was Carl Lewis. That's pretty funny. RTB, what did you miss? We're reviewing the Ivy McLemore website that is supposedly behind the big Satoshi Nakamoto reveal. So, I don't know. The play is get ready to buy a life insurance policy. Hey, Ahmed Ali, what's going on? You're not new. Who forgot to subscribe? Carl Lewis, just a little bit. I hear they are connected with the Yeti coin scam. Oh, come on. The Yeti coin scam? Is that the rumor that's circulating now, that there's a Yeti coin scam? I don't know. And hopefully those guys aren't the ones behind it. Yeah, we've been talking about Yeti coin, and if they're the ones behind it, I'd be really concerned. So, all right, let's go. Let's move on. Let's move through this. Forget about that. So we'll find out tomorrow what the big issue is, what the big reveal is. Stay tuned at 4 p.m. tomorrow, and we'll all see what happens. So next on the list here, let's go into the MoneyGram. Now, MoneyGram, I know a number of people have talked about this already. I might have mentioned it before, but I really think that this the big relaunch, big redesign of their web platform had a lot to do with what was going on with Ripple and the RippleNet investment, the RippleNet tie-in. There's discussion that they're also utilizing XVIA. So if they're using XVIA, which is the API plugin, so now we have MoneyGram actually utilizing, based on the feedback that seems to be out there, MoneyGram utilizing the full RippleNet solution. So why is the redesign so critical? Why is MoneyGram so critical? Is that MoneyGram could potentially be the first financial institution or first cross-border payment solution that's actually using the full trio. MoneyGram using the full trio of the RippleNet software solution, which is xCurrent, xRapid, and xVia. So I think that has a lot of significance. Now, you could say that that Ripple actually had to buy in order to make that happen. But so what? So what if they're investing in MoneyGram to prove that their solution is the best solution that's out there? So what if that's the mechanism in place? The fact is that MoneyGram is one of the biggest players in the cross-border payment space, especially P2P, and or as a mechanism to compete with, let's say, Western Union. So MoneyGram is utilized and has locations in 200 plus countries. So it is very, very significant. So obviously we like seeing the fact that, and this goes to RippleNet, and I just want to, I'm just pointing out all, the development here. And again, others have probably talked about it, but but this is amazing. So with the big investment, obviously a redesign of MoneyGram had to be in play for a considerable amount of time prior to. Obviously, a bunch of money is coming in based on this buy from Ripple. But again, that was obviously orchestrated and planned well in advance also. Didn't happen overnight. The fact that we see these coinciding, that you have the buy-in and then you have the rollout of a redesign of their web platform to really make the entire experience better. And it's interesting because right on their website, or on the article, which a comment from MoneyGram, and so the statement here was, this is Alex Holmes, MoneyGram chairman and CEO. This was this article, and this was the article, and the quote was actually pulled from from MoneyGram, or from a PR press release from MoneyGram. But anyhow, the quote is, the enhancements we have made to our website will provide a more customer-centric web experience, making it even easier for our customers to send money domestically and internationally to friends and family. Then he goes on and says, and this is interesting, but we have made significant investments in our digital capabilities over the last few years in order to provide a differentiated customer experience. And the improved online platform is another way we're driving digital growth and staying at the forefront of the industry. I think that's a great statement. They're obviously, MoneyGram is obviously in it to win it in terms of the competition with Western Union and others. But again, the point being is that there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes. And I think he really highlighted it here, the investment in their digital capabilities. And a big part of that now is the fact that they're utilizing RippleNet, and they're utilizing xRapid for liquidity, and they're utilizing xVia, for the API plugin to simplify the entire experience and process that Ripple and RippleNet is actually bringing to the table. So, what else do we have here? We have being able to send money online and check the status of transactions. That is really, really amazing. So if you think about when you do a cross-border payment and you're doing a bank wire, and you're sending this money through the traditional mechanism of SWIFT, there really isn't a clear process of the transaction, of the status. Obviously, it's either received or it's not received, and it's in limbo, for much of that time. So being able to have transparency, is so key. Then we have here, users can easily repeat a transaction with just a few clicks. Now, this is partially, obviously a lot to do with their own software, but it does say here, the redesigned website also provides easier access to estimated transfer fees. And we did see that MoneyGram had decreased the cost of moving money from Canada, and they decreased it significantly to where it was basically a flat fee, and that's, I think, really impressive. Increasing transparency and ease of use for money transfer planning. Transparency, that's a key phraseology and terminology that they're using, because transparency isn't typically something that has been found in the payment space. So having transparency in terms of fees, in terms of process, in terms of status, all important things. And now they have MoneyGram Plus rewards so loyalty members can actually earn rewards. I think that's interesting. So MoneyGram is definitely advancing. MoneyGram is making some big changes. Underlying their technology, I think, are some things that are really important. So here's another one, and this is right at the very end of this press release. You have, and it was an article that also then appeared on Yahoo on finance. And that's another point, is that I think what we're seeing on the mainstream, we're seeing mainstream rollout of news happening on a much faster pace. So before, there was always at least like a 3-4 day delay for mainstream to pick anything up, if they picked it up at all. And so, yeah, this was PR Newswire. That's what I was trying to get out. That this whole article was launched. This is the whole press release. But now we're starting to see news picked up by Yahoo and others. And Yahoo Finance, they do a really good job. Yahoo is a search platform. Forget about it. But Yahoo Finance, I think, is probably one of the better financial platforms for news, for information, for stock research. It's pretty amazing what they put together, and I don't know how many people use it, but it's pretty good. But here, this last statement in their press release, I think, is what's most important. The innovative MoneyGram platform leverages its leading digital and physical network. And here's where it's interesting. So, global financial settlement engine, cloud-based infrastructure with integrated APIs, and its unparalleled compliance program that leads the industry in protecting consumers. So, it's leveraging leading digital and physical networks. Obviously, there's a lot of great statement here. A lot of it is what MoneyGram was already, but the interesting part is, to me anyhow, without really reading into it, but what fits perfectly, I'm just looking at these puzzle pieces that fit together, which is the RippleNet solution that plugs into what MoneyGram, is stating and offering, and the importance of that, the integrated API, from RippleNet, the settlement engine, the technology, the liquidity provider, the overall cloud-based infrastructure. So much of what RippleNet then elevates and offers into that platform is pretty impressive. So, not sure any thoughts you guys might have on that topic. I know there's a bit of a delay, but Matt LaRoche, only 6 weeks till start of Q4. MoneyGram looking to ramp up in Q4. Not long, no. So there's definitely a lot of great things that will be going on. So we'll see how that goes. We have entered the quickening phase. And it's quickening. We have the identifier phase, the utility phase, the build out, right? And so now we're starting to really see, more and more what's going on. Whereas with Ripple and RippleNet, obviously, they're still adding partners on a regular interval. This one, again, we need to make sure we're staying on top of every, intricate move on the part of MoneyGram. Now, the reason why I think it's so important also to focus on what Ripple is doing with their RippleNet software is because, in truth, regardless of what anybody's feeling is, on XRP, you really have to identify, and you really have to admit that from a utility perspective, and we're talking about real life, real world utility, Ripple and the RippleNet solution is really by far well ahead of any other digital asset blockchain platform at this point that has been put into real world utility. And that bears, mentioning, and that bears observation, and that in and of itself is very, very telling and very significant. So again, regardless of what people may or may not think about it, and then you have, obviously, there's a lot of other things that are going on now in supply chain. There's things that are going on in what Walmart is doing for tracking produce, shipping companies, healthcare is trying to get blockchain, and there's so much integration going on in different industry. However, the one industry that is advancing, and we're seeing this, by far faster than any other industry, is the payment space. And obviously, Ripple and R3 are the two that are leading the way, with everybody else trailing. So that's why it's so important to focus on utility. Now let's wrap this up with China. And I know we talked about it a little bit before, but I think it's important because we have a state-controlled digital currency that they're planning on rolling out. Could this set a trend? Is this going to make any changes? Is it going to impact anything? Are they going to be able to do anything different with their digital asset that they can't do with their regular currency? Are they going to have more control over their currency to manipulate, or is it going to decrease manipulation? Is this digital currency through, this quote unquote digital asset, is it going to bring stability for China? What exactly is their ultimate goal and agenda with this? Are they also seeing the payment space and really seeing what Facebook has done? Is there movement within the U.S. government also and others that are really incentivizing China to want to be first because maybe other countries are dragging behind a little bit? I think there's a lot of unknown variables to think about as to why they're doing that. Is China thinking and trying to rationalize a methodology of circumventing some financial economic embargoes? Do they even need that? So does that even factor in? Because regardless of what the United States and many others within the world body do, let's say as it pertains to North Korea or Iran or Venezuela or Syria or some of these other real bad state actors in the world, if we have a financial embargo on these countries, you still see behind the scenes China and Russia are typically still dealing with these countries. And when it gets to the extreme point is when we start seeing them pull back. And that's when Russia actually gets a little more complicit, or China actually pulls back support for those countries. However, so do they really need this digital asset then to circumvent when they can circumvent regardless? Does it simplify that process? Or is it really all about internal finance? Is it also about them, seeing what Facebook Libra can do potentially, and China wanting to be a predominant player in this cross-border payment space to say, hey, you know what? We want to be on top. We want to simplify this payment process, and China then having their digital asset to roll out globally. Maybe then it also simplifies the trade process for them to say, look, we're going to be first on with a global currency of this size, of this proportion, and allowing banks globally to then utilize this digital yuan or this digital whatever it's going to be. Is that possible? Now, obviously, and this is a good point from this Bloomberg article, it says the PBOC could track every time money changes hands. So is it that they want to be a global leader, or is it that China wants to control and observe where every last yuan is spent in their country as well as out? So I don't know. It's interesting. So you have to think about all these things, because at the end of the day, you still have a Chinese government that is very controlling, and in the same breath over the years. So trying to think about things in a vacuum is extremely difficult. So if you want to look at China, we have to look at the history of the economic development in the recent future, or in the recent present or past, of where China has come from, where they're actually going, where they are today. But it's important because we don't have to look that far back out of communism to the actual struggles of the Chinese internal conflict between communism and capitalism. And so they had to overcome that struggle. And over those years, and we're not talking about, years, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, we're talking about really in the past less than 20 years, where you see this struggle that was taking place and unfolding in front of us, where the Chinese economy would advance, and then the government would pull it back because they were afraid to let the economy advance too much. Let me take a drink of water here, and I got to pull out this big bottle. I haven't got my new water yet. Puts things. Hang on. So so we really have to think about, is China then thinking about exactly how they're going to roll forward and move forward in the world? What exactly is happening? So I think that's the dynamic that's at play. And there's so much more to it. Again, it's always been about that controlling mechanism, the observation, and there's things that you can and cannot do in China, obviously, still because of that controlling environment. And so it's interesting. I think it's really, really interesting at this point. Let's see, Carl Lewis, I would suggest wrapping it up in paper. I like the Chinese. I think China porcelain is likely to break. Yes. Matt LaRouche, China are friends with Ripple. They have an office there. They've allowed Amex in. They visited Ripple office. Chinese companies direct investors in Ripple funding rounds. Interesting. Yes. So I don't know. You retracted your last message there, but those are solid points. Very, very solid points. I work with a Chinese company. So I think it's what is it? Malush, I want a YouTuber to whip out a water stand dispenser, 20-gallon refill bottle, and get really serious. We're gonna have to keep going there. I think so far Chip he pulled out the 5-gallon. So but just to make that statement, in the transition of the economic growth within China. And this is a great topic to wrap up on. And maybe this should have been the entire topic, because we could really get into this. Maybe this needs to be a topic for next time to dig into even further. While I was in graduate school, China was one of my primary topics that I researched in depth and wrote papers on, economically speaking, about their economy and the interaction of their politics. And then I did some on in Africa as well. But I thought, and what's relevant right now is really, this trend within China. So there's multiple struggles within China, and that's why I think it's so important, what they're thinking about right now with the digital asset. So for many, many years, China has not abided by many of our practices globally in terms of protecting copyright, trademark, whatever it might be. China has been the king of reverse engineering. China has been the king of manufacturing product for one of the big brand names and putting that out the front door, making a minor modification to that brand name product and putting it out the back door. And that's all come from very reputable sources who I know that traveled there and set up warehouses there on a regular basis and factories. China is the one country I actually have not been to China yet, but I do work with a number of Chinese companies. And it's interesting because of the fact that regardless of the space, so China's had a political economic struggle internally with itself. Whether, how much freedom do you give people? The more freedom, the more economic freedom you give your people, the more political freedom they want. The more your economy grows, the less you can be restrictive politically speaking. Obviously, you can be restrictive politically speaking and choke your economy, and then it's a negative cycle. So again, the more wealth people have, the more complacent they become. The more you restrict their wealth gain at that point, the more outspoken and vicious they will become. So if you look at a country like North Korea, where they've never allowed economic growth and the state has dictated and controlled the lives of the people, they've been pulled into complacency by threat to their life, by violence and by control. China used to be there. China opened up and opened up and opened up, and they started expanding in their economy and letting their people experience wealth and get the taste of economic freedom, and getting the taste of less travel restriction, meaning Chinese can leave China and travel, opening up markets in other countries and allowing Chinese residents to go live in other countries and work in other countries. So it's really important to identify and understand all the fundamental aspects of what's going on in China. And the fact that they're rolling out this digital currency is also important because of all of those dynamics. Now, looking at the fact that China normally has allowed, again, the infringement of trademarks and copyrights, China has allowed this fake production and manufacturing to go on for many years. Many of the things that Trump is talking about, that and many others have really approached or gone after China for these infringements, and China said, we don't care, and no other government has really taken it seriously to say, you know what, we're going to protect the interests of our designers. We're going to take the interest in, on the side of our companies, of our inventors, and we're going to tell China, look, we don't want you to do that anymore. We don't want you to infringe on copyrights and trademarks anymore. And that's a lot of the tension and conflict, economically speaking, in terms of China levying, super high tariff on American-made product, on European-made product. And it's interesting because in China, there's a very high demand for American cars. There's a very high demand for American products. The Chinese, when they have money, they don't want their indigenous product. They want their American products. It's a status symbol to drive an American vehicle, a big American car. It's a status symbol, to have American-made or at least American-owned, let's say a GE or a Philips or something like that. Now, in recent years, we've definitely seen, a big, trend change in China. So if you go back a couple years, most of the product coming out of China, it was, low quality, reverse engineered, et cetera, and and there's still that problem today. However, there are some major countries within China that are manufacturing amazing product that have been innovated from the ground up. So China does have, and if you go into the medical industry, which is interesting, so the medical industry and product coming out of China, they flooded the world with cheap shit, for many years. Many years. They flooded the markets in India and Latin America. They tried to penetrate into the U.S. market, and then the Indians got pissed. The Latin Americans got pissed off because the product that they were dumping in their countries, yes, they were cheap, but they were cheap in functionality, cheap in price. They had a limited lifespan. They degraded in a very short period of time. The product was crap. And so that is what they became known for. Now they had a change. So now there's a whole new generation, and there's actually product that has come out that has been in this space for a while, coming out of China, that, and we could go back maybe probably between 10 to 14 years, which is really where we saw a turning point with some of the companies. So there are some older companies within China that have been putting out extremely innovative product that are extremely high quality, in fact, leading the world. So that's the possibility, that's the capability of Chinese manufacturing that isn't reverse engineered, that actually has led the industry. Now, then the struggle then is, what about the rest of the economy and all the other fake stuff that's being pumped out? So that, again, is also, the balance. So you have the balance of the political struggle, the economic freedom, manufacturing and the government protecting copyrights and trademarks and product and innovation and invention from other countries. And then you have the countries that want to grow up, that have passed and surpassed that point to where they want to compete on the global stage, and they can compete on the global stage, and they're trying to kind of run away from the stigma of the Chinese reverse engineered product. And and I've used that statement many times when we've worked, because it is a fact that many of the product out there that comes out of China has been reverse engineered and is just low quality and had no innovation. And because of that, basically when they reverse engineer a product, they only have limited capability with that product, especially when it goes into the technology space, especially if it's tech, especially if it's then medical. It's amazing. It's amazing the impact that it can have, and negative impact that it can have. So there's so much intricacy that comes out of China, and this is just the latest. Obviously, we've heard about the Chinese miners, dominating and manipulating Bitcoin mining. Now we're seeing this move by the by China and the PBOC, going into releasing this digital asset. So there's a lot more that'll come out. I think we need to talk about this more. I'll dig into this more. I'm interested in it. I don't know if you guys are. I don't know if you guys want to hear more about it, but I think it's really important to see exactly what happens. Now, their plan is that, let me see here. The central bank will expedite the research of China's legal digital tender and monitor the trends of virtual currency development at overseas and home. The PBOC said in a statement listing its work plan for the second half of 2019, released in early August. So obviously it's going to happen soon, and we're going to have to stay on top of it. And like I said, it's something that I think is important, and we're going to keep watching. So let's see here, just to summarize here. Let's see, Bamboo. Let's see, China is going to force the miners to mine the country coin. Interesting. I wonder if are they going to mine their coin, or are they going to just produce their coin? That's the question. How they're going to roll it out. Is it going to be pre-mined, or is it going to be mineable with limitation? So that could be interesting. China probably just cloned BTC, and that's a possibility too. That's the problem, right? So here we have the potential and capability of innovation where they could have done their own, or they could have reverse engineered and just come up with and just basically cloned something that's already in existence. And this is the problem, and this is the stigma that comes out of China, because we don't know. And to me, also the biggest issue is the Chinese government's desire and continued desire, because they've never left that desire for manipulation and control. So let's see, Marion Quest. There was a report on Twitter about the new China coin. Yeah, we want to dig into that more. Matt LaRoche, is Canada's CBDC coin CADX mined or proof of stake or premise? I don't know. You know what? I'm going to write these down. Hang on. Let me write this down, because this is something that we want to look at. Hang on. Awesome. Hey, Dansky, I'm glad you popped in to say hi. Hi. And yeah, we'll see you on the replay. So so let's look at the CADX. We'll look at CADX. We obviously need to look at the China coin, and then we want to identify. Are they pre-mined or mined? And we need to look at that further. So let's see, pre-mined. Mary Quest, it will not be 100% crypto based. Yeah, so that's going back to the China coin. So to me, it seems like a play on control, but we're going to dig into this more. So we're at the hour. I know I started a little bit late. I wanted to wrap this up at an hour. Really appreciate you guys coming on. If there's anybody new in the stream, make sure you subscribe. Tweet this out. Also important, at the end, once it goes up, leave some comments on the video as well. Any feedback, any thoughts. The chat's great. Comments on the video after the fact also help. So Marianne Quaist, I don't know if you're new, but welcome. And if you are, definitely subscribe. If you haven't, give a thumbs up. Bamboo, also, I haven't seen you on before, so if you're new, go ahead and and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, give a thumbs up. Everyone else in the chat, I seem to recognize, so definitely appreciate you all being on, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Bubba Shipes is going to be back on. We're going to be doing more Bitcoin or digital asset trivia, Ripple trivia. We don't know yet. I don't know yet. We'll see what Bubba comes up with. It's going to be interesting. So that will be tomorrow night, 8:30. Look forward to seeing you guys all on. Let's see, Matt LaRouche, be interesting, or is it a stablecoin setup and minting? That's what we're going to look into. Next week, we'll dig more into the China coin, the Canada coin, the CADX, and we'll look into pre-mine mind, and we'll talk about that more on Monday. So, again, tomorrow night, 8:30. Look forward to seeing you guys on for trivia, and that is it. I am out of here.